Hello, my name is Jessica Long, and I'd like to share my story with you today. When I was younger, I was in and out of foster homes. I would say I was in about 4 or 5 different foster homes due to wrongdoings of my parents. I only remember one foster home having the best intentions for us, where they actually fed us on a schedule. They let us bathe. They let us put clean clothes on. And unfortunately, not all the foster homes were that way. I remember eating scraps, leftovers of their dinner, whatever they had left, if they had anything left. My siblings and I had to split. I remember going days and days wearing the same clothing. If we behaved, we got to take a shower. And if we were lucky, we were able to use soap. I also remember being woken up in the middle of the night to one of the foster parents not being so kind. By the time I was age 8, I experienced everything under the sun that any child, every child, should never experience. I experienced my first cigarette, my first beer, marijuana, sexual experiences, everything. And when you're a child, when your brain is still forming, and you grow up seeing things, witnessing, hearing things, it is truly monkey see, monkey do. I didn't comprehend right from wrong. I didn't realize what I was seeing and witnessing was wrong. So I copied the behavior I was seeing, the behavior I was around. And I just remember going days and days so hungry, being left alone. And I ended up stealing food and clothes so my siblings and I would be able to eat. You go so long doing these things, it truly becomes a way of life. Unfortunately, this is happening every day around the world with our youth. By the time I was 12, I went into a shelter care in juvie for the first time. And then I was sent off to a foster home for 2.5 years. That was the first foster home I was in because of my wrongdoings. Let's just say that foster home did not have the best intentions for us foster kids. I tried to get help. I reached out to my social worker, I reached out to my school guidance counselor, and I reached out to the court-appointed counselor. And I tried to tell them what was going on. But because I was labeled an at-risk youth, because I was there because of my wrongdoings, I wasn't trusted. I was not taken serious. And these things kept happening for 2.5 years. And because of some of the things in that home, I was led to believe that when I am released back to my parents' custody, that I wasn't even wanted there, that I wasn't missed. It didn't matter where I was, even if I was lying in a ditch somewhere. It didn't matter. So when I was released back into my family's custody, I believed I was not wanted. I believed I wasn't missed. So I came out of that foster home angry at the world, not only because I felt like I wasn't wanted, but also because those 2.5 years abuse kept happening and I wasn't heard. I didn't know who to trust. I did not know who to turn to. I had no hope. I had no dreams. And that's a dangerous combination. And sadly, that is happening all the time with our youth. I would love to see within the system more adults reaching out to these kids. Take their cries seriously. Some, yes, most definitely will be crying wolf, but not all of them. Look into it, please. Look into what they're saying. Investigate it just to make sure they're safe, make sure they're not being harmed, because ultimately that's going to shape them into what they're going to become within the system and when they age out of the system. I truly wish I would have had someone along my side at that time in my life who was hearing me out, listening to my cries, and taking me serious. Maybe I wouldn't have been so angry at the world. Maybe I would have felt like I could turn to someone, that I had hope, that success was possible, that happiness and safety was possible. Because when you have no hope and you feel like you're not safe, do you really think that you're going to be a good fit for society? I remember to this day, when I was 17, I was homeless. I was hungry. I was dirty. I didn't have clean clothes. I was sitting at a McDonald's, and one lady introduced herself to me. She was very kind. She asked me how I was doing. She asked me if I was hungry. But because of everything I experienced growing up, I didn't know what her intentions were. I didn't know who this stranger was. I did not know if she was being genuine. But I was so hungry that I took her up on her offer, and I ate a meal, my first meal in 2 days. We talked a little bit. She left me her business card. Of course, I did not contact her right away because, like I said, I didn't know her true intentions. But I kept the card. Later on, down the road, I contacted her again. She was still kind. She was still patient. She genuinely wanted to know how I was doing. I wasn't used to that. But I remember that being a turning point in my life. For once, feeling like somebody actually cared about me. It felt great. It felt great. We kept in contact, and because of that wonderful lady, because of that hope that she gave me, that little bit of hope, it grew bigger and bigger within inside me. And I started to feel like I could trust people. I started to feel like, hey, maybe there are more safe ways that I can live my life. Maybe there are better things that I can do for myself, for my future. I started dreaming. I started feeling like a better life was possible. Just that one lady did that for me. Just that one kind stranger. She took the time out of her day to ask me how I was doing. I want to be that for others. I want to be that little ray of hope and patience for other children and teenagers. I want to help change the at-risk youth into at-hope youth. I want to hear them out. I want to make sure that what's going on in their life doesn't define who they're going to be when they grow older. I want to hear them out. I want to know if they're eating, if they're not being abused. I want to know whether or not they see a future for themselves. Even if they don't, I want them to know and truly feel that I believe in them, that others believe in them. Maybe they won't grasp it right away, but eventually there will be one time, one moment, one opportunity that will be that eye-opener for them. And if you have already distilled this little ray of hope or belief in them, it's going to make a difference. If all they have ever known throughout their life is crime or violence or stealing to survive, it's not their fault. It's what they were brought up around. It's what they witnessed. It's all they've ever known. Try not to hold it against them. Try to be the difference that they have never experienced. I would love to see within the system a second chance program or a give back program for these at-risk youth that have tried to turn or have successfully made the steps to turn their life around. Let's say they've already gained a criminal record while they were still under the age of 18. But they've made the steps and taken the steps to turn their life around. And they've done everything that they possibly can within their reach. But they still have that criminal record holding them back. How are they going to get a good job and a career when they are already judged off of their record? How are they going to take care of their responsibilities and pay their bills or raise their children if they have such an extensive debt for court fees, attorney fees? Let's say they did some time in jail and they are being charged daily to be in there. But they have gone out. They've gotten out of the system. They've gotten a job. They've gone to school. They've had children. They are doing great. But 10, 20 years later, their wages, their bank accounts get garnished for something they did 10, 20 years ago when they were younger. Let's think of something where they can give back, where they can earn the trust back from society and start to pay off their debts. Otherwise, it can truly make them feel like there's no hope. They can do everything under the sun in their will and their power to do better. But if they're always going to be in debt, how can they move on? How can they afford a better life? I'm currently going to school for human services and private investigations. I want to work with at-risk youth and try to change that around to at-hope youth. I want to work alongside, for, and with these kids and teenagers. Private investigations, because I want to make sure that these homes have the best intentions for these children, that they are protected, that it's all for a reason, and when they finally get out of or age out of the system, that they are not angry at the world, that they feel like they can hope, that they are in the right for having dreams, and that they're possible, that success is possible. I want to be a part of that, as I'm sure all of you do. That's what we're here for, right? The system is in place for a reason, but unfortunately there's way too many children in the system and just not enough foster homes or group homes or social workers. Then what is the solution? I think the best solution is to work with what we have, obviously. Let's work harder with each other. Come up with plans and goals for what we want to see in our society, how we want to hopefully help teach these troubled youth how to go about a new life, how to grow new, more positive habits. Let's give them hope. Let's make them see that we are here for them. We are not against them. That we want to be along their side for a positive, better change in life. Let's not give up on them. Let's work with them, hear them out, and we can all move forward together. There are ways, and there's been a lot of improvements, but there's still, and most likely always will be, setbacks and struggles in some of our efforts. Because as long as we keep patience and hope for ourselves and for them, I do see a brighter future for ourselves and for them. Let's put our minds together and make things happen. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming out today. And I really look forward to what the future holds for us and for them.